Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be talking to you all about my top tips for moving to Amsterdam. Now this is one of those videos that has been patiently awaited by a lot of people because I said I'm going to do it, and I've just been waiting for the time when I felt comfortable enough to be like, right, now I've got all the tips, because it's taken a bit of time for us to get used to living here. We moved back at the end of August and it's now January, but we had a bit of drama with our flat situation, which I will get onto as I talk about everything, but now I think I'm at a point where I can give you guys all of the tips and hopefully help anyone who is moving over here. Obviously this is just from my experience, but hopefully it helps any of you who are moving here anyway. I also have a blog post live which is all about places to go and eat and drink, places to go and places to shop. That will be linked below, so if you're coming over here to visit, you can check that out. That's got all of the places that you should go and visit. I will update it as and when I visit new places and go to new places to eat and all that kind of stuff. But if you want to know about moving to Amsterdam and my top tips, then please do keep watching. Tip number one, find a place before moving here. So something that we struggled with was finding a flat to move into when we got here. We didn't really know what we were doing, to be completely honest. We needed a flat basically, and we ended up getting a last minute one which we managed to get. Ended up paying stupid amounts of money for it. It was only going to be a temporary flat anyway, but still we spent a lot of money on it. And basically it's a lot easier if you come over here maybe 2 or 3 weeks before you plan to move and try and find a flat. It's not always possible. It wasn't possible for us. We couldn't get time off work, but if it is possible, do that, because you will most likely be able to find a flat quicker. Flats go so quickly. Like when I say quickly, it's like literally we got this flat that we currently live in a week. We had said that seen it, said that we liked it, and had it in a week. So things go so quickly, and a lot of people apply for flats and rooms and stuff. So you just need to kind of go out there and meet the people, because often they like to meet and see the person so that they know the type of person that's going to be living in the flat. Obviously if you go with an estate agent and stuff, usually the estate agent can kind of judge that, and they can put forward whether they think these people are right for the flat or whatnot. But for rooms and stuff, if you're looking for a room, people that actually live in the flat will most likely be there, so they'll want to meet you and see if you're the right person for their flat. So it's really important to be able to see where you're going to be living. We had a full-on drama with our flat, our last flat. Basically we were in social housing and the person shouldn't have been renting it. It was all a drama. It was really stressful. So yeah, make it easy for yourself. If you can't come over here beforehand, then the best thing to do is either pay for a hotel for a week or an Airbnb. It's expensive, but that is probably the other way of doing it. If you've got family members or friends, stay with them and find a flat, because honestly it's so much easier when you don't have to pay a ridiculous amount of money for finding a flat or house or room, whatever you're looking for. The websites and places I recommend going to are Porarius is probably the most reliable. This is where we found this flat, and we found it pretty quickly and didn't seem to be too like scammy. You can get scammed really easy here, like we kind of did. So it's really important that you kind of go with the right places, and usually on Porarius it goes through an estate agent, so you'll contact them, be like, I want to see this house, and it's usually an estate agent, and then they email you back. So that's a really good way of doing it. There's also a Facebook page called Apartments of Amsterdam or something like that. I'll link it below for anyone who's looking at it. If you're looking for a room, it's a really good place to go, because often people are looking for people to replace other people in their flats. So you can go and visit the flat and see what it is that they've got to offer, which is really good if you're like a single person. If you're 2 people like me and my boyfriend Alex, it's quite hard to find a room, so just something to know. Obviously you can find a flat, but it is more expensive, so just think about your money situation before you go into looking for flats, because they're not cheap. We were lucky enough to get one that's kind of okay, but some of them go for a really high price. Tip number 2, it's much easier to have a job before moving here. Now I know this is not a thing for everyone. A lot of people can't get a job until they get here, and that's okay, but it's just a little bit easier if you already have a job, because most likely the business that you work for will help you out with your move, and all that kind of stuff. So it's just kind of a little bit easier. Like, they do a lot of stuff for you, which helps, but at the same time you don't need to have a job to be here. You can live somewhere for a bit and then get a job, but it just makes it a little bit of an easier process. But I did it without having a job. I mean, I do have a job, but not having like a business to help me, and it is doable. Just make sure that you know what you're doing and you've got a flat and you're okay and you're not scammed. In terms of finding a job, it's pretty, I mean, I've not actually gone out and searched for a job, but there's jobs about, and once you're here, easier to find a job because you can actually go to the interview, whereas if you're back in whatever country you're from, it can be difficult because you've got to fly over here, and sometimes, you know, it's easy if you can just be like, yeah, I can go to that interview on that day. Easy, just go. Tip number 3 is all about registering. So once you have a flat, you have to register that you live here, and you just set up an appointment and go and register that you live here. But you have to have a flat or a place to live, and the place that you live has to allow you to register. So that's something that's really important to know when looking for a flat, is that you check that you're allowed to register. Some of them, if they're temporary ones, won't allow you to, but if they're a longer term situation, you most likely will be able to register. But make sure you can register, otherwise you're stuck in limbo and you can't register, and it's a bit annoying because then you can't get a bank account or anything like that. Things you need to register are your passport, your birth certificate and your tenancy agreement. I think it depends, it's different if you're a student, because you don't have to have your birth certificate, you just have to show that you are studying here, and it may be different if you come over with a business. I don't know, but for me, I had to have my birth certificate, and your birth certificate has to have a stamp on it, which I didn't know. Mine apparently doesn't, so I had to get a new one. Anyway, long story. Passport you most likely will have anyway, and your tenancy agreement you can get from your estate agent. Just make sure it's signed because they won't accept it otherwise. So bank accounts are something that is a little bit annoying. It's not, you know how in the UK you can kind of go in and pretty much set up a bank account and it's pretty easy. It is like that here, but it's difficult when you're not from here. There's many different banks you go to. You just have to set up an appointment and create a bank account. You just have to prove your tenancy agreement. I think you need your passport as well. There's also a travel card called Bunk, which is essentially like Monzo, and it's really good as a travel card, but the minute you use it as a bank account, it's really stressful, so I wouldn't recommend it. Using it as a bank account, you can like upgrade to a Premier account. I've had a lot of issues with it, and it has not been good. So if you're going to set any bills up to any account, make sure it's like a proper bank account that you've gone to the bank and set up an appointment, because Bunk is useless when it comes to replying to comments. You can't call anyone, you have to only message, and it's just really annoying. So I wouldn't recommend it as your kind of bank account to have bills come out of, but as a travel card it's really good, because it's just great. It's just already in euros, you don't have to worry about it, and you just put money on it when you need to. So my next tip is get yourself a chip card, which I think is how you say it. So a chip card is essentially an Oyster card. You just pay €7.50 to get the card, and then you top it up with money. You have to have at least €4 to use the metro, and you have to have at least €20 on it to use the trains. I only really use the metro and the trams, and I usually just top it up with like €20 every now and then, and it's really good. Like, it saves you a lot of money. The paper tickets are way more expensive, so if you're going to be here for a long period of time, get yourself a chip card. You can get them at the metro stations. You just say you want one, pay €7.50, top it up, and you're good to go. But they're honestly amazing, like just like an Oyster card. I don't think an Oyster card is cheaper though. I could be wrong. Next up is bikes. So as you know, Amsterdam is very much well known for having bikes, and everyone cycles on bikes, like literally everyone. If they're not cycling, they're walking, or they're getting the tram or the metro. Like, you see cars, but most of the cars are delivery people or taxis. So people just don't drive here unless they live further out. And even living further out, like I live further out, well, a little bit further out, and there's barely any cars here, so people don't really drive, they cycle everywhere. Getting a bike is kind of essential, I think, more so for summer. I'm not using mine at the moment, it's too cold, can't bring myself to do it, but it's such an easy way to get around, and you can get a bike pretty easily. I would recommend going to an actual bike shop and buying a bike if you're going to buy one, because you can get if you buy one from a market, they're most likely stolen. So buy one from a shop where you know it's legit and it's an actual bike and it's not been stolen and you're not going to get it taken off you. And also make sure that you get a really strong lock, because bikes also get stolen. So yeah, make sure that you've got a good quality bike if you're going to buy one, and also a good quality lock. I bought my bike for around 150 to 250 euros. I can't remember how much it was exactly. And we bought it from a shop, and the shop was pretty good. I can't remember what the shop was called, but we only bought them because we couldn't get the rented ones because we didn't have a bank account. Long story. But yeah, we bought them. We knew we were going to be here for a long period of time. We knew we'd probably use them a lot. It would be worth us buying them. And mine's currently sat in my shed. But that's okay, because when summer comes around, I will probably use it a lot more. It's a lot easier to get around when you have a bike. You can pretty much walk anywhere, but cycling is just a little bit more efficient without walking, and it's nice to cycle in the summer as well. If you don't want to buy a bike but you still want to have a bike, there is a rental place called Swapfeets, which essentially you rent a bike every single month. So it's just done like on a bank transfer, like a direct debit, and you can get a bike from that, just like branded by them. They give you one, and you pay it monthly. And if you have anything that goes wrong with it, if it gets stolen, I'm not sure about if it gets stolen, but if you have anything wrong with it, if the tire goes, whatever, they will fix it and stuff for free, so you don't need to pay for any of that. I know that it can be quite expensive to get like tires and stuff fixed, so it is a much safer way and more like cost efficient if you are going to be here for a period of time and you want to make sure that you don't lose your bike or you don't pay too much for having it fixed and whatnot. It's pretty useful. I know they have one a shop in where the university is, that's all I know, but it's a really good like, I'd recommend it. You do have to have a Dutch bank account to pay for it, but if you already set up your bank account, then you're all good. We didn't do it because we had a lot of drama. We couldn't register at our old flat. We could only register this flat, and we needed bikes right away, so we bought them. But we figured it would be all right because we are here for like a good period of time. So yeah, make sure you get a bike, but you can rent them, which is good. So yeah, check out Swapfeets. I'll leave that below as well for any of you who are looking to rent a bike. So now we're on to food. So we have lived in two areas. So we lived more centre of town and then further out. And the food is not cheap when you're buying food to like live off, like food for your home kind of food. It's not cheap. There's a shop called Albert Heijn, which we were shopping in before, which is kind of expensive. You can get cheaper things there, but it's not cheap. And now we live further out. There's a Lidl here, and we shop at Lidl, and it's so much cheaper. So just be careful where you're shopping for your food. I know that you can buy vegetables at markets and stuff. I don't know how much cheaper they are because we haven't actually been to one. But I've heard that you can get a lot of vegetables for a lot cheaper at markets, so that's good to know if you are moving here. But Albert Heijn is quite expensive, so just be careful. If you've got a good salary, then you're fine. But if you're keeping to a budget, then just be careful with what you're spending your money on, because some things can be really expensive. Like fish is really expensive, but also so can meat, and everything is basically expensive. But then some things are really cheap, so you just kind of have to weigh it up. We buy everything from Lidl, and it's pretty good. I used to go to Lidl when I was at uni, so it reminds me of that. But I mean, you could get pretty much everything in Lidl, just like random versions of them, if you know what I mean. So my last thing is just shops. There are a few shops that I would recommend going into if you're looking for home stuff, or I don't know, random bits and bobs, or like cleaning stuff and stuff like that. So the first one is Blokker. Blokker sells like cleaning products, it sells pans, it sells electrical products, it sells nice home furnishings, it sells all sorts of stuff. It sells light bulbs, batteries, all sorts of stuff. It's a really good shop if you're looking for that kind of thing. You can buy hoovers from there, you can buy ironing boards. Have a look at the website, I'll link that below as well, if you're not sure what you can get there, or whatnot, but it's a really good shop. I've bought a lot of stuff from there and would recommend it. Great place to find bits and bobsy. Next one is Hema or Heimer. I'm not sure how you say it. I'm pretty sure someone told me it was Heimer. But that is a really good shop for buying like really nice cute homeware. It doesn't change that often, but they have really lovely plates and cups and stuff that I would recommend. I have a couple of plates from there and I love them. They look really kind of like Anthropologie vibes. So I recommend going there if you're looking for some nice plates or like kitchen bits. It's fairly cheap. It's not like super expensive and it's not super cheap. It's like it's a reasonably priced, and they also sell like duvet covers and all sorts of homey stuff, but not like, they don't sell cleaning products there. It's just kind of essentially like, I think it's classed as like a department store, but it's not like a department store in the UK. It's very just kind of like simple. It's the only way I can describe it. Another shop for something a bit different is MediaMarkt. They sell anything electrical, from TVs to headphones to plug adapters to kettles to coffee machines to hoovers, all sorts. They sell all the electrical things. So if you're ever looking for a kettle or anything like that, go there. We have bought a kettle from there, really good price. I bought some headphones from there for really good price. Really good shop. It's essentially your PC World / Currys. Pretty good. In terms of like shops I've come across in Amsterdam itself, like in like the town centre, Deal and Camille sell amazing, very cute home and plants and stuff like that. Love that shop. It's a bit of a walk, so I never really go there, but lovely shop. It sells gorgeous homeware. It's not cheap, but the plants are pretty good price and they're really nice plants. Both of them have survived, so pretty good. And also there is another one called Sostrine Greens. I think they have that in the UK, and it's a stunning shop. Has so many nice homeware bits, so like it's reasonably priced as well, and just really lovely shop. It's a really lovely shop. I love it. It's like Tiger for homeware, but nice homeware. So yes, I love that shop as well. So those are my top tips. I hope this was useful. If I think of anything else, I will obviously film another video, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head at this moment in time that I would tell you guys about. But hopefully this was of use to you guys. If you have any questions about moving to Amsterdam, or you want some advice, or you have a query or whatever, pop them in the comments, DM me on Instagram. I will happily answer and help you guys out. Because I know it's difficult and it is pretty much a learning curve because people don't speak English. Well, people do, but they don't speak fluent English, so I know it's difficult. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will speak to you all in my next video. Bye guys!